Okay, so in this video, I'm going to go through how you can start creating your first campaign in LinkedIn. So what you need to do, if you haven't yet seen the previous video, make sure you watch that first, and then you'll be on this page. And then once you're on this page, click on Add Account. And then what you can do is you can choose the company page that you actually want to do any advertising on LinkedIn for. So if you haven't yet created a LinkedIn company page for your accountancy firm, then have a look at the design and setup videos that I've created, which goes through, again, step by step, how you can create a LinkedIn company page. But the first thing you need to do is create your page and then just type in the page here. So I'm just going to do the profitable firm as an example. So let me do that. And then you can give it an advert name. It doesn't really matter too much what you call it. So I'm just going to call it I'll just call it PF ad account. Okay, there we go. And then choose your currency. So, what's the preferred way of paying for the adverts? And then click on Add Account. Okay, and in the next step, it's going to ask you to select what type of advertisement you want to create. So if you remember from the previous video, what we are going to be focusing on is the sponsored content. So that's where we have a heading, an image, a description, and also with this type of advertisement, we can also create lead generation forms so that we can start generating leads. So actually, you can see it here as one of the features, which is basically generating leads. Okay, which is really cool. So let's select that one. And then you can give it a name. So I'm just going to call this test account. And then you can choose whether you want to send people to your website or content, or whether you want to collect leads using the LinkedIn lead gen forms, which I spoke to you about a moment ago. So if you do already have a landing page, like say, for example, you're promoting maybe a webinar or an upcoming event or something, you have a page on your website where they can enter their contact details in return for something, usually content. If you have that on your website, you can just use this link here or this button here to send people to your website or content. Or what you can also do if you don't yet have that, or maybe you just want to skip that step altogether, you can actually just collect leads using LinkedIn lead gen forms, which is really cool. So let me just click on learn more so you can see how that actually works. So well, actually it's a bit small so you can't really see it here, but basically there's a little form that appears, and then the people that see your advert, they click on it and they can enter their contact information. And actually I'll show you later on what that actually looks like so you can see it in real time as well. So once you've selected what one of these you're doing, for the sake of this video, I'm going to do LinkedIn lead gen forms because I think that's going to be one of the easiest ways to get started. Just click on next. And here is where you can actually start creating the content, or you can use existing content to promote it and get people interested in what it is that you are doing. So a lot of people get confused on this step, and it is actually a bit confusing the first time you go here because people are not really sure what to do or how to actually select a piece of content as something that they want to promote. So if you've already posted something on LinkedIn that you want to promote, and you want to use that as the LinkedIn lead generation free piece of content, you can just select what it is. And then once you've selected it, you need to click on sponsor selected content. Okay. It's not very obvious unless someone sometimes points it out to you, but a lot of people, they've selected it and then they're like, oh, where do I go next? Because if you click on next, it doesn't work. So you have to click on sponsor selected content before you do anything. If you want to use one of the previous social media updates that you've posted on LinkedIn. Now, if you don't want to do that, you can actually just create sponsored content. So you can create a new piece of content. So that's what I'm going to do in this example. And then LinkedIn actually allow you to create a post. So I can do, we are hosting a free marketing masterclass for accountants. Then I'm just going to put a call to action saying click sign up for details. Okay. And again, we can also have a description, so a secondary description. Again, this is quite similar to Facebook. So if you set up Facebook ads in the past, it's a similar kind of thing. You have a message at the top, then you have a link and also a description here. So, I'm just, for the sake of this, just to get something up and running, I'm just going to put test. And then we can also change, which I do recommend that you change the image to something a little bit more appealing than what's the standard thing here. So I'm just going to select an image now. Okay, so I've just selected an image here just as an example, just to get something up and running. And then let me click on save to show you what to do next. And you'll see that it actually appears here. So what you can then do next is just click on the select check button, tick button here, and then click on sponsor selected content. And also it's worth mentioning that only the people that you send this advertisement to will see this update. So you can see here that this it says that it's basically not visible to anyone else apart from those that you're going to be sponsoring the update or the content to. So let's click on sponsor selected content. And here is where we can choose the call to action. So you can choose sign up, apply now, download, learn more. In my experience, I would try to avoid download. Sometimes that can scare people off because they think, oh, I have to download something to my computer. Is this trustworthy or whatever? Also, I would usually tend to avoid apply now if all you're giving people is some content. Usually sign up actually works quite well. If it's like a webinar, register could also be good, and also learn more. But I tend to normally just do sign up. And then you can also select the form that you've created. So if you haven't already created a form, if you've already created one, you can just click on the drop-down menu. But if you haven't created one, you can just click on Create New Form Template. Now, this is the form that people will fill in so that we can capture their information. So I'm just going to click on that button. I'm just going to put sign up for the free marketing class. You can just put a little bit more information, enter your details below. That should be fine. Enter your details below. There we go. And you do also need a privacy policy. So similar to Facebook, if you do Facebook lead ads, you'll need to create a privacy policy. So I have a video on how to do that. But just to show you quickly, all you need to do is go to freeprivacypolicy.com and you can get a free privacy policy for your business in about 5 to 10 minutes. That's all basically ready, made, done for you. You just answer a few questions and it will create it for you. And then you can just upload that to your website. And then once it's uploaded, you can link to it here. Okay. So I'm just going to link to theprofitablefirm.com just as an example. I'm not going to go look for the privacy page just now. This is just a test advert. Or you can just enter how you're going to basically use their data. This is important though, that you do have a privacy policy, especially with the new GDPR rules that are coming into effect on May the 25th. You want to make sure that you're very clear to people what it is that you're doing with their data and how you're going to be using it. And obviously this is going to be used for marketing purposes, and you just want to make sure that that's clear to people when they sign up. Okay, and as you can see here, that when people submit the form, they have to tick this box that says that they that they agree to the privacy policy that you have, which is really cool. Okay, so I think I actually might need to do privacy in here, and I'm also just going to give it a form name. So I'm just going to call this test form, but you can give it a name for whatever's going to remind you of what it is. Actually, just to make it a bit easier for you, I'm actually going to call this the free marketing masterclass. It is usually a best practice to give the lead form a name so that you can actually remember what the name is when you go to download the forms, which I'll show you how to do that later on as well. So when you download the leads, if you know what form it is, it will just make your life a little bit easier. Okay, and just to I'm just going to put something in here just for the sake of it. But again, just enter here how it is that you're going to use their data. You can just have a quick snippet. What I normally do is I normally say, we promise not to spam or sell your information. So I normally just have a line like that, and then the rest of the privacy policy is here, and you can see that this line appears here. So click on next, and then here is where you can actually select what kind of data you want from the form. So you can see here that there's lots of data that LinkedIn allows you to get. Now, you'll usually get the best results if you ask for less information. So if you just ask for their first name and email, which is the most basic stuff, you'll usually get more leads. But if you want to just make sure that you're targeting the right people, which you should be, but if you just want to, if you just want to make sure you are and what kind of people are actually filling in the form, especially if your targeting is a little bit broader, you can actually select things like job title or company name, and you can get that information as well. So for clients, we've actually done a few things, such as job title and company name. But what my recommendation would be is, if you can, just try to keep it to the minimum. So first name and email address, unless you absolutely need the extra stuff. And even with their email address, sometimes you can actually see what their company name or their website is anyway, if they use their work email. You can also then ask a custom question if you wanted to. So if you wanted to maybe ask them, what are you struggling with right now in your business, or what do you need help with, or whatever it is, you can also ask that there, but that is optional. And then I'm just going to click on next. And then you can just put a thank you message here. So maybe thanks, or thanks, will be in touch shortly. Or if you are actually giving people the content, so say for example someone said, hey, I'm interested in reading this blog post, but they have to enter their name and email before they can read it, you can then link to the blog post or link to the download or the guide or whatever it is that you're sharing. You can link it here, and you can actually put download now or view now or learn more in the link, so that people can actually go and read the piece of content that they've requested. Okay, so you can just enter that in there. So I'm just going to click on save just for now. And then we have the form. As you can see here, it's all being automatically selected. So in the future, if you have other forms, you'll see those in here as well. And you also get a little preview of how the form will actually look when it goes live. So I'm just going to click on next, move to the next page. And here is where you choose the targeting. So I'm going to go through the targeting in a bit more detail in the next video, because this is one of the really important parts of the LinkedIn advertising campaign. You want to get your targeting right.